Okay, and now we're just going to have that 15-second delay that Facebook is so famous for as it streams us over to hang out with our Mighty Mystery fans and friends. And it looks like that is happening now. Welcome, Mighty Mystery friends. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited for you to meet our featured author, Kate Moretti, whose brand new book, The Girls of Brackenhill, is out now. Kate, welcome to Mighty Mysteries. Tell us about your book.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I am a huge fan of the Mighty Blaze and Mighty Mysteries, so I'm super honored to be on today. It's going to be so much fun. The Girls of Brackenhill was a story I wrote in 2017 because I've always written sort of like a domestic suspense type of book before. But in 2017, like a lot of people, I was out of creative juice. Like I just sort of like hit the bottom and I thought, what am I doing? Like nothing I can come up with feels like super interesting or better than real life. So I thought I want to do something a little crazy. And I sort of went off track a little bit for me. And I wrote a ghost story. And it was just I just thought, if I was going to write a ghost story, where would I set it? And I remembered when I was a kid. We'll get to that. I'll tell that story after I tell you what the book is about. The book is about a woman who gets a call in the middle of the night that her aunt has been in a tragic car accident, and she has to go back to this home, this house, this mansion. It actually looks quite a bit like a castle. That she used to spend her summers at when she was a teenager. And she had one very last tragic summer where her sister went missing and was never found. And they never found out what happened to her. She just had to pick up and move on with her life. So the story opens 20 years after this happened, about 20 years, I think it's like 18. And she has to go back to this castle and sort of reconcile with all of these old ghosts. And some of them are actually ghosts.
Woo! Ooh, I have the chills. So knowing that I was going to interview you today, and I was going to host you today, I posted about it in all of the mystery and thriller groups that I am a member of, and also on Twitter. And then I thought, let's do a little poll and see who here believes in ghosts. So I did a heck yes, I believe, or a no way they don't. And if anyone's on Twitter, you can go participate. But overwhelmingly, the answers so far have been yes, they believe. And then I said, if you believe in ghosts and have had an experience, please share it below. And the stories that have come pouring forth are chilling. I mean, they are crazy. So first of all, I just want to welcome everybody on Facebook. Welcome, Bruce. Welcome back, Gail. Gail says, Tuesday with Mighty Mysteries continues. Gail, you know it does. And thanks for staying with us. You're awesome. Top community member there. Joanne, hi, everybody. Welcome. Dottie, welcome. A ghost story, Margaret says, yes. So first of all, let's just get a sense of people here. Tell us yes or no, do you believe in ghosts in the comments? And then we're going to get into this as Kate tells us about her terrifying ghost story. And I've been peeking ahead because I'm so scared. I personally am scared of ghosts, but people on Twitter are sharing that they have seen them. A woman shared that she was staying at a Days Inn in Williamsburg, Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia, and every single night for 3 nights, a ghost came into the room. He actually physically shoved her husband, and then he flew out the window. The husband fell on the floor. The husband also saw him, so 2 people seeing him at once. I mean, this is really crazy. So Kate was just sharing, you live in a historic home. How old is your home, and have you seen a ghost?
Well, okay, so the house is, I love my house. It was built, we think, around 1870. We don't have an actual date for the build of the house because in the 1800s, they usually documented the barn and not always the house. So we know the barn was built in 1850. So usually the house followed, 10, 20 years later. They used to rent out a lot of farmland and didn't actually live. Anyway, I didn't need to go into all that. But so we think the house was like 1870. So But the really not interesting part is and I guess I should make it up at this point, but I haven't seen anything, and I'm really mad about it. So I keep, like I was just saying earlier, like every night when I go to lock up the house, it's like the end of the night and you're lock it up and make sure the windows are shut and everything. And I can look out the door and I can see my big old barn. And every night I just sit there and stare, and there's these huge windows in the front. And I just think from at the very top, one day I'm going to see a white face. I think it's going to be a lady. Hasn't happened. I've been living here for 10 years. I just want my ghost. I feel like I was promised a ghost, and I don't know who I need to contact in like the ghost customer service department, but I do not have one. It's very
But have you thought about going out there and saying, hello, is anybody here? Like,
anyone here?
Make yourself known, make yourself shown. Have you thought about inviting them?
I haven't. I think maybe I should. Maybe they're listening right now and they're like, we didn't know she would like us.
Right. Maybe they were like watching. Maybe you come out every night to make sure they're not there, but you're inviting them in. What would you do if you saw one?
I have no idea. I feel like I've been waiting for it for so long. And there was like, every once in a while I'll say to my husband, I feel like I hear footsteps in the attic. But now, now my daughter's up there. So, now it's just like her. There is all these little cubby holes in the attic, like parts of it are finished and other parts there's like doors in the walls that go behind the eaves, and we have a turret on the one side. It's a Victorian farmhouse, so the attic has it's a weird little door and it goes into the top of the turret, and I'm convinced somebody must live in there because if we had a ghost, that's where she would live.
Yes.
But even my daughter's like, I don't think it's not scary up here, Mom. I'm like, are you sure you're not?
You're up there with your
feel
notebook.
Anything.
Kate's up there with her notebook, but are you sure you don't feel something?
I think you should be a little scared.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I definitely think that the ghost, should you have one, would live in the turret for sure, because you have a freaking turret. That's amazing. Or I would fully expect for you to see a face in the window of your 1850 barn. I mean, that's pre-Civil War. I mean, some stuff has got to have gone down in the.
And I live in Pennsylvania, which is a fairly historic state. Like, we've been here for a long time.
That's right. I mean, we're talking Revolutionary War. We're talking Civil War. I mean, some stuff.
Come on.
Yeah, Kate, there has got to
older at least.
Yeah, I think you've got to open a portal or something because there's no way that you're living in an uninhabited place. Oh my goodness.
No, I'll have to do something, I think. Some kind of seance, maybe.
Gail is saying, no, she doesn't believe in them, but they do scare her too. Okay, Gail, I feel you. Bruce is saying yes and no. Bruce, we're going to need more on that. How can you be yes and no? Bruce also saying, I believe that people like in your family, parents, etc., who have passed away can visit you in your dreams in a good way. He also is watching from Rochester, New York. Any weird dreams over there, Kate?
I don't. I mean, I have like your run of the mill, like, it's, I don't know, I'm 42 and I shouldn't have like, I forgot to take my exam dream, but I still do. And I lose all my teeth, it's all like the same dreams everybody else has. But I have not had dreams. There was one hilarious dream, actually. It happened last year. I posted about it on Facebook because I could not stop laughing. My grandmother, who passed when I think, let's see, it must have been 2001, maybe 2.
Okay.
I think. Anyway, I grew up with like very close to my grandmother, and I never had a dream about her until last year. I had this dream and I could hear her laugh again and I could hear her voice again, which is sometimes it escapes me because it's been so long.
Yeah.
And the most hilarious part of this dream is her and my husband were getting ready to go on a Golden Girls themed cruise together. And they were going shopping for their cabana wear.
Oh, I love it. For their cruise wear, they had to. Yeah, she had to be looking good for the cruise.
It was the most hilarious dream I've ever had. I woke up and I just thought, oh my God. And I rolled over and I said, you're never going to believe what I just had a dream about. He was like, I think that would actually be fun, except he's never going to go on a cruise in his whole entire life. So, but I think he would, the Golden Girls theme part, he would very much like.
Okay, so to Bruce's point, this may be more than a dream. Margaret is saying, do not open a portal in 2020, Sarah. Oh my God, Margaret, you're so right. What was I thinking?
I'll wait till next year.
Kate, close the portal, wait till 2021. My God, what was I thinking? I wasn't thinking, I apologize. Don't open a portal.
No, 2021 is not the year.
Yeah, exactly. Probably just, you know, just keep the portal closed. If you see something, you see something, but I wouldn't, best to keep the portal closed. Thank you, Margaret. So you've written this story, this ghost story, and it is scary. So tell us, what was, you know, why did you decide to write this ghost story now? What, I mean, why a ghost?
The ghost was more that it's just something really fun. And it isn't a classic ghost story. I think when you get to the end of the book, you're not sure whether there was a ghost, whether the character's crazy, whether it's all a dream. Like, there is some ambiguity at the end of it. And I also think that as you're going through and you're seeing, there's no moment, there's no classic ghost story moment where you turn around and like the ghost is in the corner or like her head spins around. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't anything like quite like that. It's much more subtle. And you know, I am sort of the opinion that the things that your own mind can do to you are much more terrifying than what could happen in real life.
Ooh, that is a good point. Because yes, because I am wondering, I'm at the point where I am wondering, is she hallucinating? Is she sleepwalking? Is she you know, what's it called? Where you're dreaming, but you're awake? Like, what is going on? Is she struggling with a mental illness? Like, I don't know. Or a guilty conscience. I don't know. And so it is it's very, you know, interesting, and you're not really sure what's real and what's not. And, you know, and it's such a thought-provoking and crazy story. So
yeah, so I was definitely more interested in the fallibility of memory than I was an actual ghost. And I really like playing with I wanted when I was writing the whole book, it was really fun to try to keep this sort of dreamlike atmosphere going, even when she's awake. Like, there's just, you know, little pieces of information that you're given and you're like, wait, is that actually real?
Right, exactly.
So that was something that I just had a lot of fun with. Like, I wrote this book, like I said, when I had sort of reached the bottom of the creative well, and I just thought, I want to have an absolute blast. Like, I just want to have such a good time writing that it was kind of a book for me. Like, I just wanted to have a great time writing it. And I set it in a place that was kind of special to me. When I was growing up, we didn't have any money, and my dad took us north to the Catskills camping all the time. And he was a fly fisherman, so he was very familiar with the town of Roscoe, New York. So the one day we were driving up there, and he pulls off to the side of the road, and he's like, I want to show you guys something. We hiked up the side of this little hill, and we came to this completely abandoned, it looked like a medieval castle. Like, it was amazing. And because we didn't have any money, there's absolutely nothing wrong in my parents' mind with like letting your kids explore a condemned abandoned building for the day. And that's what we did. And I mean, at the time, it was the 90s. So you were allowed in, like, nothing was boarded up. You know, we just ran all over this place. You know, we didn't destroy anything, but it was so much fun. We took pictures. We were down in the basement. We were up. There wasn't quite an attic, but there was like I remember there was like little, almost like little turrets, and then you could climb up them and like see the outside. It was just really cool stuff. So that's where I wanted to set the book. When I decided I was going to write a ghost story, I thought, well, if I'm going to write a ghost story, I'm going to set it in a cool castle, and that's going to be that castle.
What castle was it? Did you ever find out?
Yeah, so it's called Dundas Castle. It's Craigie Clare is another name for it. It's in Roscoe, New York. It is still abandoned. It's never been lived in. It's never been purchased. It is actually owned by the Freemasons of New York. In the 70s for a while, or the 60s, I think, 70s, something like that. For a while, it was used as like a children's camp, which is actually a little creepy and weird. Yeah. And then it was used, I think, for a Freemason, like almost like a retreat, I think. but it was never inhabited. Like, it was never lived in. And there's a lot of history behind it about why it was built, and then who it was sold to. And there's a lot of rumors and ghost stories that surround the castle to begin with. So yeah, so it's all super interesting. Everything you can look up and read about Dundas Castle. I could talk about that for a very long time, but I don't think it's not all, we could do this for an hour.
That is so cool, because I was thinking to myself, it didn't occur to me that it was a real place. And I was thinking, this is so crazy. And you described it so well. I could really picture it. Margaret is saying, quote, absolutely nothing wrong with letting your kids explore a condemned abandoned building in the Catskills. What could happen?
What could go wrong? Well,
what could go wrong? Exactly. Oh my
funny
God.
you should ask, because I took my own kids back there trying to recreate that wonderful moment.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh gosh.
So as it turns out, the security in 2020 is significantly different than the security in 1992. And, the whole place is like, every tree has a no trespassing sign. I was a bit of an idiot, and I thought, well, I have a business card. Like,
yeah.
I tried a couple of times to contact the Freemasons of New York. I offered them money for restoration fees. I offered, like, I called them. I left messages. I sent emails, and I just couldn't get any traction. Nobody cared at all. I offered to pay them several $100s. Like, I was like bidding against myself in this email. Like, okay, what about this? How about this? Let me come up and look around.
Yeah.
I never heard from anyone. So I said, all right, kids, get in the car. We're going to go up and, we're going to break the law.
Yeah, good.
And we did. And everywhere you look is no trespassing on every tree. And my oldest is crying because she's terrified. We're going to go to jail. She's saying, like, I said, no one's going to send me to jail. Like, I'm like a chubby 40-year-old mom with a couple of little kids. Nobody's sending me to jail. And, I don't know. I just thought it's fine. Like, if I saw anybody, I'd be like, hi,
Yeah.
So we spent about 40 minutes looking around the outside. You could not get in the inside anymore. My youngest had a great plan that she was going to scale the wall and then come down and unlock it. And I said, that's a bad idea. We're not going to do that. So then all of a sudden we start hearing this like rumbling noise. And I'm like, what is that? And I turn around, and there is a very scary giant man on an ATV, and he's got a ski mask on. And on his lap, he's holding a crossbow.
Is he a guard?
Well, okay, so before I went, I did read online that there was a caretaker, and he was not amenable to visitors, but I didn't think he'd mean me. I don't know. I'm telling you, it was just one stupid decision after another. And so anyway, he says, you need to leave right now. And I'm standing there holding my business card like an idiot. And he wouldn't even like, I said, okay, we're just gonna go. And we walk down the little driveway, and we get down to the bottom. We were very far away from the car. He made us go out like a completely different way than what we parked. So we had to like walk up this narrow road. And I thought, oh my God, if we actually get out of here alive, like nobody comes running, like flying around one of these curves and hits my kids, I'm going to be so grateful, because this was just the stupidest parenting decision I've ever made. And we were walking back up to the car, and then we heard this like really loud bang. And my youngest was like, was that a gunshot? I was like, maybe, just get in the car. Just get in the car.
Oh my God, Kate, that is a crazy story. Oh my God, that is a crazy story. But you know what? I admire your chutzpah, and I like that being a mom has not, dulled your sense of adventure. You're still doing it, and I give you props for that, because I think that's really fun.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit fun, a little bit stupid. Like, it was, I just really thought it isn't as much adventure as it is just naivete. Like, I'm just convinced that I could still do the things I did as a kid.
Yeah.
If I can just force my kids into this life, that it's okay, that we can still do this stuff, that free range parenting is fine. And you can take off on your bike, and you don't have to come home for 11 hours and then, I don't know.
You're not going to be a helicopter mom. You're going to foster a sense of adventure.
Yeah. That's what we'll say that.
I love it. Bruce is saying, I really enjoy A Mighty Blaze. So many wonderful authors I was introduced to this year. I lost my dad in July, and A Mighty Blaze keeps me company. Oh, Bruce, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm so glad that A Mighty Blaze is a comfort for you. Thank you for keeping us company today. We appreciate you. He says, I will be reading Kate's book. Yay!
Thank you very much.
Yay! It is a chiller. So you buckle up, Bruce. This is gonna. You're in for a mighty wild ride here. He says he's currently reading White Ivy by Susan Yang.
Awesome. Oh, I've heard really great things about that book.
I haven't heard of that book, so thank you for the recommendation. That sounds awesome. Kate, how long did it take you to write this book?
So,
you started in 2017.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly when I started. I think I usually write the first draft in like 4 to 5 months, and then after that, it's about a year of revision. Some of them I do myself, some of them are with an editor. And then obviously it goes through copy editing and proofreading and all of those steps in between. So when all is said and done, it's always about 2 years, and I can't seem to shrink that timeline. And I'm usually cycling books, meaning like, now this one's releasing, I'm revising the next one and pitching the next one, so it's always sort of like this balancing act, which is such a stupid word. That's not what it is. All it is like shifting your focus. Like right now I'm promoting this one and finishing this one. And so, but all of my books from start to finish still are sort of on this 2-year cycle. I know people can do it faster than that, and I don't know how.
I don't know how either. I mean, I'm 6 years into writing book 2 and I'm still not done. So that is not something I know. Like I'm in the slow and steady lane. I'm in the tortoise lane.
Yeah. And I feel like it's okay. Like I feel like that's fine over there.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just be moseying along, meandering at my turtle pace.
Right.
What about the cover? So was this the first cover they proposed to you? Did you have input into it? Was this?
Yeah, so they had a bunch of different covers and they were all really cool. I had a ton of input actually. It was such a fun process and it was super collaborative. And I felt like when I sent an idea back, I have so much respect for cover designers because I have no idea. Like every time I have to make one of those little Canva graphics or like a little graphic for myself, I'm always like, I think I put a tree here. I'm just really that's not my strong suit.
No.
So every time I would like send back what I thought, it was always really lame. It was always, like, I think that looks good, but it's like not square enough. And they would say, well, I mean, it's a rectangle. It's on a book cover. Oh, well, I don't know how to explain what I mean, so I'm not a very good communicator. And I felt like whenever I sent an idea back, they would come back with the perfect thing, exactly what I wanted. I don't know how they did that. But it was really fun. So the cover started out as like almost like a greenish, brownish. And I said, what if we did like a pink?
Yeah, I love the pink. This cover is so perfect because this is exactly how I envisioned the castle. The pink gives it the sense of, it's perfect for the title, The Girls of Brackenhill. It gives me the sense of, that feminine energy, but it's menacing. I mean, it's not a warm little campfire place. I feel a little sense of, anxiety.
I think they did such a home run out of the park.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this book has earned incredible praise. Publishers Weekly awarding it a starred review.
And it was my first star from them. And I'm so excited about that. I've never gotten a star from Publishers Weekly. I've gotten a couple from Kirkus here and there, but never a Pub Weekly star. So I was really proud of that.
That is a huge accomplishment that, that doesn't come cheap. Publishers Weekly raving, this is a riveting thriller. Fans of Gothic mysteries with a touch of the supernatural will be richly rewarded. Wow, incredible praise. Kirkus, who I think the New York Times called reliably cantankerous, raves that 17 years after her sister vanished from the family estate in the Catskills, Hannah Malone is pulled back to the place by another calamity and finds herself buried neck deep in crimes present and past. Link by link, Moretti hypnotically reveals a tragic, violent daisy chain. I love that because they are, praising your ability to build that story, as they said, link by link, which indeed is how it feels as you're reading it. Pop Sugar said, full of gothic moodiness and dark family secrets, The Girls of Brackenhill is a thoroughly chilling story of one woman's haunted past. Absolutely amazing. The Nerd Daily calls it gripping. Mystery and Suspense Magazine says that when seeking a story with strong plot lines, stellar characters, and twists at every turn, look no further than the work of Kate Moretti. She uses these and other ingredients to keep the reader on the edge of their seat. In her latest thriller, Girls of Brackenhill, where a woman is forced to return to her past in order to put her present in order. Let's talk about how you do that. How do you create strong plot lines, stellar characters, and twists at every turn? What are these other ingredients that you use to keep readers on the edge of our seat? Tell us your secrets.
Okay. Well, I have no idea how other people answer this particular question, and I really don't. But I basically, everyone's, it comes down to people say, are you a plotter or a pantser? Do you plan it or do you? And I have this weird process where I plan it and then I veer wildly off the plan. And then I take the plan document and I update it for what I did. And then I think of a new plan and then I get down to writing and I do not at all what the plan was. So I don't know if that makes me a plotter or a pantser, but I've done it for like 4 books now. So I'm pretty sure that's my process. And I don't seem to have any control over it. So it's ridiculous and doesn't make any sense. And basically when I get to the end of a chapter, I just want to say, like, what is the craziest thing that could happen now?
Ooh, I like that.
I don't know. It seems, I always feel so goofy when I answer this question because I feel like if a second grader had to teach a writing class, this is what they would say. And what happened next? And that's kind of what I do. I just get to the end of a chapter and I think, okay, well, if this is here and this is here, and I usually have some idea of beats. Like I have a couple of things that I know I want to happen that I'm working towards. It's the in between that I do this thing where I write the plan and then I veer and then I write the plan and then I veer. And that's where I get to, okay, well, if I eventually have to get from A to B, what can I do in the middle to make it really interesting? And a lot of times I end up at the end of the book with about 3 or 4 subplots that make no sense. And I have to go back and pull all them out and or resolve them somehow. A lot of times it's just easier to yank them out. So a lot of times I do get to the end of the book. I always think of it as like you're knitting an Afghan, and when you get to the end, you have strings everywhere. You have to either go back and weave them back in, or cut them, pull them out.
Right, exactly. And what do you mean by beats?
So I think it goes back to, oh gosh, I guess it's the Save the Cat. I've been doing it for so long that is that Blake? I'll have to look up his name and get back to you. But he wrote the book Save the Cat, and it's actually a screenwriter's book, but they talk about the story beats, and he's not the only one to use that. I use a lot of techniques for screenwriting in my novel writing, just because that's the kind of novel writing that sort of appeals to me. I like the cinematic, I don't know, where you're so wrapped up in a story, like you can see it happening in front of you. And the plot moves so quickly that it is almost like a movie or a TV show or something like that. So there's a lot about screenwriting that appeals to me. And then there's also a lot about, novel writing, because I tend to get a little heavy-handed with the description and the floweriness. And then the editor comes in and is like, okay, you need to take out about 20 of these descriptions, because
I wouldn't know anything about that. I cannot relate at all.
Oh, is that I definitely need, I feel like I'm in vaudeville and they have the hook. They're like,
get the hook. Oh my gosh. Heather Webb. Oh, hey, Heather Webb. Heather Webb is saying, hi, Katie. So let's see. I met Heather at Muse in the Marketplace 4 years ago or 5 years ago. I can't remember. Anyway, hi, Heather. So we have a friend in common.
She's my I've done a retreat with her. I've actually done a couple of a lot of things with her. Heather is like a buddy of mine, and we did do this. We just did this. Trying to think how long ago. Well, maybe September, I think. We went up to Highlights Foundation in Pennsylvania, and it is a wonderful writers retreat where you get the most fantastic food made for you 3 meals a day, and you just sit in your little cabin and write, and it's amazing.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing. I've never heard of it. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and we sat around at night with a glass of wine and chit-chatted a little bit, and then we went back to our rooms, and I usually passed out by 9.
I love it. I love it. Anissa, welcome, giving us tons of purple hearts. Thank you for the hearts. Okay, we have a couple more questions. Bruce, I'm going to get to you next. We see that you are a member of the Tall Poppy Raiders. Can you tell us more about that? Yes, tell us more about that, Kate.
Okay, so the Tall Poppies was founded, I think 2012 or 13. I joined it, I think, in 2013. We wanted a place to come together where women writers could support each other. It started as just a collective on Facebook where we would talk a little bit about publishing and trials and tribulations, and then we would shout about each other's books and stuff like that. And then we have slowly gotten into like all kinds of really cool stuff. Some of it is for book promotion, some of it is to uplift other women writers. We have tons of guests on our Facebook user group Bloom that has over 10,000 members, or I think just about 10,000 members now. So we bring in guests in there, and we do tons of giveaways, and we always are trying to do things to lift up women writers. We also have a philanthropy angle where we donate a certain percentage, and the percentage varies quite a bit. We don't actually take in any money. We're not technically a nonprofit, but nobody's getting rich off of this. We'll say that. But anything that we sell, we partner with like candle companies, or we have some merchandise, and we also opened a bookstore that you can purchase online, and it's run more like a indie bookstore. And all of the proceeds from all of these different ventures go to Room to Read, which is an organization that promotes girls' literacy. So it's an organization I'm really proud to be part of. I feel like we're always trying to do something new, something different. The pandemic has been a bit of a challenge to get authors out there. I think the pandemic was, sort of what prompted you guys, the Mighty Blaze, right?
Yes.
And we thought that was amazing. I know that there was a little bit of a partnership between Tall Poppies and the Mighty Blaze. I think we did a little bit of cross promotion. We loved you guys. And I just think it was just something we all need. You always need a place to kind of land, and as long as you need a place kind of to have a home crew, a group of women that are smart and hardworking and savvy. It's really just an amazing organization, I think.
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear. That's awesome. Bruce would like to know, does an author already have ideas for her next book? Sara and Katie. So Katie, you go first.
Well, I'm in revisions for my next book. So the deadline for the revision is November 19th, and I can't extend that again. I don't need to, Tiffany, if you're watching this. I've never gotten so many deadline extensions in my life. It's just embarrassing at this point.
Well, it's a pandemic. I mean, let's give ourselves some
pandemic. My kids are homeschooling. I'm taking them to castles. I have things to do.
Listen, there's a guy in a ski mask and a crossbow.
And a crossbow!
48 hours.
So I am in the developmental revisions for this book. So it's in the second round. So, it's really at the point where we're really starting to pull it apart and put it back together. And I love this process. And I happen to work with a brilliant editor, Tiffany Yates Martin. So I feel like she and I can she says, what about this? And I said, oh, that's great. Now what about this? And we have these like amazing phone calls. And it's just really, it's like I always I think of the Hollywood, the writer's room.
Yeah.
of like sitcoms. And it's just so much fun to have somebody that is in my writer's room. So I have that going. I also have, I think that my editor is a little bit interested in seeing a pitch for the next couple.
Yay.
And I'm not there yet.
And do you and Tiffany ever have disagreements where she's like, what about this? And you're like, no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Well,
and how do you resolve those? I mean, if she's like, what about we bring in a robot? And you're like, robot? There's no robot.
No,
I mean,
robots. It's not gonna happen. She did have she has attended. I think 2 is a pattern in my opinion. So now
what is it? Sorry, what was it?
2 is a pattern. I've had 2 books with her, and in both of them, she has changed the villain on me. And so she tried to change the villain on this one, and I was like, I like my villain. I'm gonna keep the villain who the villain is. And she's great because she just says, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, then here's all the things you have to do to make it work, because it doesn't work right now. So I love that she kind of tells me that. And she says, it would be easier to do my thing. And I say, well, I'm not going to do it.
That's so interesting, because I think one of the things that really is endlessly fascinating, but also overwhelming for me as a writer, is that there is no right answer. This isn't math, and I hate math. So I just want to say that. But the one, I just want to say that. Ooh, there's an echo. Oh wait, I think you may have something.
I don't know. I don't have anything. All I did was move my computer because the light has changed in here. It's getting really dark. So I was going to try to very, very sneakily reach over. Whoa.
Voila.
It was really bright when we started the interview. Like, it gets so dark so fast now.
This is why I hate daylight savings time.
Is there an echo still?
No. The echo, we're going to call that a ghost. The ghost came, the ghost went. Now you've had your ghost experience, Kate.
Yeah.
No, but one of the things, math is clearly not my strong suit. But the one thing that I like about it is the certainty. When you've gotten the right answer. There's only one right answer. 2 + 2 is 4, and it's never going to be anything other than 4. But with writing, with you, for instance, and Tiffany, of her saying, what if you change the villain to this other person? And you saying, no, I like this. And she says, okay, here's all the reasons why yours doesn't work. And here's all the reasons why mine would be easier. There's no right answer here. It's only right. So how do you, and Margaret is saying, no, quote, no, I like my villain, LOL. That is a good quote. We're going to get that on a t-shirt for you, Kate. No, I like my villain.
I like my villain.
I like my villain. And on the back, it says hashtag where's my ghost. But how do you deal with that when this could be the villain, that could be the villain? Is it just
so it depends on the book. So with Girls, I can't spoil it, but the villain in Girls of Brackenhill was not the original villain. That was the one that Tiffany said, what if, hear me out, this is crazy, but what if? And I said, oh my God, that's so stupid. I'm gonna do that. And then she was like, just think about it and, call me back or whatever. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. I think even at first I was like, no, I'm not doing that. That sounds crazy pants. And then I don't know. I think I just woke up one day and I said, you know what? I think she's right. I think it'd be really cool if blah, 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 blah. So I think that some of it is letting go of, like a vision that you had.
Yes.
And if you're able to do that. And so some of it then, the villain for my next book, it's really complicated. She keeps trying to take the layer of complication away, and she could be right. I mean, once it publishes, maybe everybody will be mad at me and be like, this is a stupid idea. What are you doing? But I think it's kind of fun. So I don't want to lose that layer of complication. And so she's fine with it, but she said, well, you're going to have to work kind of hard to make this work. Like right now, it kind of doesn't. So that's what I'm working on right now, is I'm trying to find all the pieces that make my complication believable.
Ooh, that make my complication believable. I absolutely love that. Margaret's saying, girl, don't do it. No, I am going to do it. I did it. Margaret's on fire today. We're all loopy.
Check and check.
Oh my gosh. And this is for ghosts, LOL. Oh my gosh, we're all having so much fun with this conversation. And this is saying a Mighty Blaze and Friends and fiction are two of the best things to come out of COVID. Oh, thank you so much, Anissa. That's
Oh,
amazing.
that is definitely true. I agree with that.
Oh, yay. Well, I think we have time for one more question. What do you want people to walk away from this book having felt or having experienced?
Um, Let me think. Can I have 2 seconds to think about it?
Yes, you can. And while you think about it, I'll entertain the audience with a brief musical interlude.
I think, honestly, I loved the idea of playing with the sister relationship. I have a sister, and our relationship is so drastically different than the one I wrote about.
Mm,
Um, I didn't even I wasn't processing, anything related to my own sister in this book at all. And so, but writing is such a weird therapy, I think, that you process your relationship with other people regardless of the relationship you're writing. So like you could be writing about something that bothers you about a relationship with your best friend, and you're writing about a mother-daughter relationship. You know what I mean? I feel like these tethers that you have are more emotional and not necessarily rooted to the type of person or the type of relationship you have with somebody. So for me, it
yes.
was super fun to explore this sister relationship completely outside the bounds of my own experience. Like that was just a lot of fun for me. The other thing that I thought that I feel like if people are reading, just the idea of memory. I
Mm,
feel like a lot of the memories you have as an early teenager or, an older child, they feel so nebulous. Like you have a memory and you think, oh, well, we did that once at Graham's house. And, my mom was saying, no, we were at, your aunt's house. And it's just so weird that in my mind, something can be planted so firmly in one setting, but maybe what I'm talking about actually happened, but it didn't happen where I thought it happened, or it didn't happen when I thought it happened. Like I would say, oh, it was the summer. And my mom would say, but there was snow on the ground. And I don't know which one of us is right, but we both have these very firmly planted memories. I tend to think she's right, because if I was only 12, what do I know? So that to me was always really fun and interesting, especially because as I was growing up, I would say, oh, well, I would always talk to my parents and say, well, this or this or this happened. And they would say, that never happened. I didn't make it up.
yeah.
So where do these memories come from if I invented them all?
Yeah.
And I feel like other people have had this same experience where you're talking to your parents and you're saying, well, this whole thing was like really traumatic. And, your mom's like, that never happened.
Right.
And I think that memory is such an interesting concept, because I feel like it probably didn't happen the way you remember it, and it probably did happen not the way your mom remembers it, and so that to me is something that I think about all the time. I'm always very fascinated with what our minds do to process events and relationships and trauma, and the way our minds manipulate information. That is very, very fascinating to me.
It is fascinating. And you'll see that a lot with um, recounting by witnesses to either police or in courts or to lawyers, that the variance of memory and the impermanence of memory and the imperfection of memory, and how someone can be absolutely convinced that this happened, or that they saw what they saw, or that it happened a certain way. And then
Yeah.
it can be, and someone else will remember it totally differently. And then if there's camera footage, it may be an entire third different way. It
Right.
is fascinating and also humbling, because it's not, it can be so wrong. It's fascinating, a fascinating topic.
Yes. So, I think if readers are going to walk away still thinking about my book, that's amazing. And if they, question the fallibility of their own memories, or, that's pretty, that I think is something to ponder. I think that everybody should sort of think about that kind of thing. And, especially now in an age where we're sort of expected to parse through what we see on the media and figure out what's real and what's not real. I use that sort of thinking a lot. It's like this non-linear thinking, where I can say, well, did that really happen the way this person said it happened? I don't know. Maybe I can see it happening a different way, like that kind of thing. So to me, that's always really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when so much misinformation is being shared from people in very high political offices. It's crazy. Laura Rossi is saying, great interview. Thank you so much, Laura. You're awesome. Bruce saying he loves tuning in here, and also to Friends in Fiction, and our co-founder Caroline Levitt is just wonderful. Yes, she is. She's the best heart ever. Caroline's such an incredible human being. And Margaret saying, they came from ghosts, Kate. Well, what a perfect note to end on. This has been, Gail says, thank you so much. Gail, thank you for joining us. This has been such a fun and wide-ranging conversation, from ghosts to abandoned castles to your 1850 barn, 1870 house, to the variants of memory, to sister relationship. Oh my goodness, this has been juicy. Thank you so much for coming on A Mighty Blaze. Thank you for sharing the Girls of Brackenhill with us, available today through our partnership with bookshop.org, which supports independent bookstores which need our support right now, because heartbreakingly 1 per week has gone out of business since the pandemic ended. So when you buy Kate's book, The Girls of Brackenhill, today, that money will go to support independent bookstores, and you get to read this fabulous ghost story. And this says, thank you so much, ladies. Gail says, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your wonderful questions. Kate, thank you so much, and
thank you for having me. This was a blast. I had a great time.
Yay! We will see you next time here on A Mighty Blaze. Have a great night, everybody.